Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Winning Online Podcast. My name is Paul Slack. I'm one of your co-hosts, and just wanted to let you know how excited we are that you have chosen to spend a little bit of time with us each week as Ray Larson, my co-host, and I share with you our thoughts, our insights, believe it or not, our wisdom as it relates to all things internet marketing. And quite frankly, we've been entrepreneurs for a long time, so all things business related and just operating and growing your business in the 21st century. And so this is our very first episode, and we're super excited that you've chosen to spend a little bit of time with us each week. We promise to keep these podcasts timely, relevant, informative, and helpful. And so let me give you just a little bit of background on who we are. As I mentioned, my name is Paul Slack. I'm been in the internet marketing space for a long time. Actually built a business, sold it in 2010, and have now started a new agency called Vende Social. And Ray Larson, my co-host, was actually one of my clients about 10 years ago. Ray ran a very successful lighting and fan business where he sold most of his products over the internet, and we were his internet marketing partner, and we helped him grow his business quite a bit. And then in 2008, if you guys remember the Great Recession, Ray lost his business, just like Saab went out of business and Lehman Brothers went out of business. And you know, Ray wasn't a giant company like AIG, so he didn't get any kind of a bailout, but he took that opportunity to reinvent himself and become a great internet marketing consultant. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to my co-host and business partner, Ray Larson.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I promise this won't be boring. Paul used the term wisdom, and the way I like to define the term wisdom is that wisdom doesn't mean I'm smarter than you or I have more knowledge. What I have is more experience. I made more mistakes, and I had a business failure back 5 years ago, 2008, and one of the things that I walked away with is that I learned what I love, which is internet marketing. And the other thing I vowed was that I want to make sure that people can profit from my mistakes. I'm very transparent about what happened and how it happened, and I want you to be able to profit from my mistakes. I want you to do what I say, not as I did. So part of the value that Paul and I bring to the table is that we've been around the block. We're not guys and ladies right out of college. We've been out of school 5 years, and we're called internet marketing gurus. We've been there, we've done that, we've been at a lot of rodeos. Insert your favorite cliche in here, but we think that for a business executive, a business owner, we bring a ton of value to the table because we have the knowledge and we have the experience.
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. And as a result of that, Ray and I are actually working together today at Vende Social. We're very much a boutique agency, and we're very selective in who we work with because we want to stay boutique, and Ray and I want to be involved very closely with our clients because we really do believe that it's when we can combine the industry knowledge and work directly with the leadership of an organization and combine their leadership knowledge and their purpose and passion with our understanding of web marketing and buyer behavior and our passion for winning, that together we can really make a difference. And so because we're always going to be small, that's our plan, we wanted to create this podcast as just a way for us to kind of get our view of the world and internet marketing and connecting to the dots, because that seems to be a big challenge for businesses today that aren't winning online, is that they haven't figured out how to connect those dots. And so at the end of the day, we always know it's about purpose and process and methodology that enables you to spiral your organization in the right direction. So this weekly podcast is going to be our opportunity to just impart that information to you. And by the way, it's not going to be a monologue here. We want to hear from you as well. We've got a Facebook page that we've set up. It's called Winning Online Podcast. You can also visit us at our website, vendesocial.com. Share with us topics and things that you'd like us to cover, and we'll certainly do that. Now, this is our very first episode, and so what we decided we'd cover is a big one right out of the gate, and that is this revolution that we find ourselves in as it relates to marketing, that old marketing tactics and techniques don't seem to be working anymore, and these new marketing tactics and techniques seem to be evolving so fast. It's like, how do you rein that all in? And so we wanted to talk about that. We wanted to talk about what this revolution in marketing is really all about. And so, Ray, why don't you kind of kick that off for us?
Well, I think the most obvious part of this revolution in marketing is that the buyers are now in control. Before, back in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, and even the early 90s, you would walk in to purchase something, and the salesperson, the car dealer, they knew everything. They knew so much more than the consumer did. Everyone has heard of Moore's Law and the maxim about processing speed and the cost of storage every 18 months doubles. Well, one of the unforeseen circumstances or products from that has been this equipping of knowledge for the consumer. The consumer can find out everything they need prior. They do research. There was a 2011 survey that Google conducted, and they determined that 70% of purchases in the United States start with a search. So that consumer now is out there and is looking for information, and they walk into the door and they know as much or more than the salesperson. So the whole paradigm has been switched. Paul, what do you see from this paradigm shift?
Well, you know what? It's interesting that you bring that up, because when you think about a revolution right out of the gate, I think about the power shifting right from the hands of the few. You know, if we think about countries that go through revolutions, the power kind of shifting into the hands of the many, and that's what's going on. Just like you're talking about, the buyer is now in control, and on the surface, that may sound scary. You know, that, oh my gosh, I'm no longer in control, but quite frankly, we see that as a huge opportunity, because in the old days, the old school of marketing prior to this revolution, you could really only market to one type of buyer, and that's the buyer that we call the now buyer. You know, the now buyer is somebody that has a need, they have a budget, they have a compelling event, right? Those are three key things, and obviously now buyers are great, and you can still reach now buyers today. But the web, because of what you just described, Ray, the web has really created this tremendous opportunity for us to connect with what we call the future buyer. Now, the future buyer is missing one of those things. Maybe they don't have a compelling event yet, maybe they don't have the budget yet, but they're dreaming. They're trying to gain knowledge on how to make informed purchase decisions. And so what the web has given us the ability to do, because we know that's where customers are going to research, it's given us the ability to come alongside these future buyers, not as a pushy used car salesman, but as a helper, or somebody we call a concierge, that's going to give them, impart the knowledge that you have that they don't have, that's going to help them make those informed purchase decisions. And when you realize that because of ubiquitous access to information, and the fact that they are using the web to research, as you mentioned, Ray, 70% of the time, then this is the big opportunity for us. And that really goes into the next point, which is all media is now social media. And so because we're no longer in control and the buyer is in control, they're also micro publishers. So the buyer's got the ability to go out and say anything they want about anything. In fact, all media, social media, to the degree, just think about if you're a restaurant owner or a car dealer, somebody can literally, or even a gym, you know, somebody will walk into your gym, and if you've got a dirty locker room, take a picture of your dirty locker room, upload it on Facebook and say, don't come to this gym, it's nasty. All media absolutely is social media. So we've got to learn how to be okay with that and turn our customers and our prospects volunteer marketing army. And that's one of the things we're going to show you absolutely in this podcast over time, is how do we do that? Because quite frankly, going back to that future buyer scenario that we just described, that future buyer would rather read information about your customer and what they think about your product or service than what you have to say. And so knowing that the buyers are in control and knowing that all media is social media, we've really got to turn our customers into this volunteer marketing army, get them out in our praises and telling their peers what they think about our businesses. What do you think, Ray?
You know, this volunteer army, I'd like to relate something that Lowe's is doing right now on a social media platform called Vine. Vine was it's 6-second videos. It was widely and quickly. The early adopters were teenagers. Now Lowe's has figured out a way to use that to build their volunteer army by doing how-to quick 6-second videos on how to do quick DIY, do-it-yourself projects. But this volunteer army, how do you enlist them? How do you get them to be your brand advocates? Because that's exactly what that means. Well, it starts with what Paul said in the beginning. You're not looking at the now customer. They're way down the funnel. To get that volunteer army, you need to start recruiting them at the top of the sales funnel, at the awareness stage. And the way you do that is you begin to build a relationship, and relationships are two-way conversation point, which is it's about a dialogue. It's not a monologue. So you're having two-way communication with your client up at the awareness funnel at the beginning of the stage. And the way that dialogue goes is you ask them, you find out what their pain points are. What are their needs? What are they interested in? What kind of problems can you solve? And you start solving for there. But the way you assess those needs and draw them in deeper into the funnel is that it has to all start with the dialogue. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in today's world, it is a two-way conversation. You know, monologues don't work anymore for all the reasons that we've been talking about in this podcast. But one thing that I really want to make sure that we stress as it relates to this dialogue, this conversation you're having with customers and potential customers, is that it doesn't have to happen real time, right? It can happen in an asynchronous way. When you think about just communication over the last 25 years or so, think about the impact that asynchronous communication has had. So let's go all the way back to voicemail. You know, when voicemail first came out, that was a big deal because you could leave a message for somebody and impart information without you being face-to-face with that person. Email was the same way, right? Email was allowed us to accomplish the same thing, and now the web gives us the ability to do that as well. When we understand our buyer and we understand that they're looking for knowledge, they're trying to make these informed purchase decisions, they're looking for knowledge that you have that they don't have, and so we need to understand what are the questions that they're trying to get answered where you can be a subject matter expert and basically give that information to them in an asynchronous way. So basically think of this as you know, frequently asked questions or blog posts or something that you can put out there that will literally become lures for your business, so that as I go and begin to look for information to make an informed purchase decision, I'm going to run across this information that you've left for me, and by doing that, I'm going to come in contact with your business and your brand, hopefully on your website. And then from there, you're going to be able to give them a reason to take the next step with you. But we're going to cover those types of things in subsequent podcasts. Another key thing to talk about as it relates to what you described, Ray, is this idea of having virtual personal relationships with your customers. I mean, that's an interesting thing that social media has created. I mean, we all hopefully are on some social media channel, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, personally, and you know that you're able to maintain a relationship with another human being even though you're not having a quote-unquote real relationship in the real world. Well, businesses now can have virtual personal relationships with their customers that feel like very real customers. And so we can keep that dialogue going through our Facebook page, through our blog, through whatever social chat platform that we've decided is relevant for our customers. And so that's really key to what we're talking about here as we go back to this whole idea that it's a revolution. So yeah, everything that we know about web marketing or marketing in general, just flip it upside down, right? Because it's the inside, outside, inside out, outside in type of marketing these days. And that's really our commitment to you as we continue down these episodes, is we're going to share with you our wisdom. We're going to help you overcome some of the hurdles that maybe you've had as it relates to executing an internet marketing strategy well for your business, because maybe you've got one of those green around the ears internet marketing gurus that doesn't know anything but pay-per-click or doesn't know anything but Facebook. And we're going to be able to share with you, how do you really connect those dots? How do you put this in a process and a methodology that's going to enable you to manage by exception and move your business in the right direction? What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is that through the course of these next, hopefully, years of watching our podcast, we're going to help you connect the dots, and we're going to do what Paul has preached since the day I've known him. We're going to lead with value. So speaking of lead with value, next week's subject, we're going to talk about treating your internet marketing quota or your internet marketing as a salesperson. And we're going to the subject is going to be putting your internet marketing on a quota. Just like you do it with a salesperson, your internet marketing needs to be on a budget. There needs to be metrics, and we're going to talk a lot about metrics and metrics that are meaningful to you as a CEO or business owner. So I hope you'll join us next week, and we thank you so much for your time.